Okay, and that red means it's okay until the sun's done. Alright, he's managing attention, communicating, respect, finding family, as in front and center, say name for the love, stage speech.
Hi, I'm Andrew.
Hi, Andrew.
So, growing up, I've never really been too close to my dad at all. His shifts always started really late at night, and during daytime, he would just sleep because he would be super tired. And so basically, my grandpa, he raised me throughout most of my life. But 6 summers ago, something horrible happened, and my dad was arrested and put into prison, and my life was never the same again. Today, I want to share with you my personal commitment as to why I want to, starting from now, why I want to be the best son that I can be. And I'll share with you 2 reasons and 3 actions as to why I personally commit to this. And, well, 6 summers ago, my dad was arrested for selling marijuana. Well, technically, he didn't actually even sell any marijuana at all. He was arrested 1 month within the time frame that he started. And I just feel like he's a good dad, and he never deserved to have been in prison. So the first reason that I want to be the best son that I can be is because he's never put himself before me. Whenever there was somewhere I wanted to go, he would try to make time to take me, or whenever there was a toy I wanted, he would try to get me it. I actually remember this very distinctly, a time when the new Street Fighter game came out on PlayStation 2, and he promised he would buy it for me. So we got to Kmart. Yes, we had Kmarts back then. This was like maybe 10, 12 years ago. And there was the Street Fighter game and a Pokemon game. I couldn't decide which one I wanted, and I was just standing there for maybe like 5, 10 minutes, and he decided, okay, I'll just buy both for you. And that was despite the fact that he wasn't making very much money at the time, and he was actually saving up for a $200 watch that he wanted. But he still bought it for me anyways. And I guess looking back, I realized he's always put me before himself, and he's always cared for me. And the second reason that I would like to be personally committed to being the best son that I can be is because I feel guilty. The short version of the story is that he was arrested for selling marijuana because he wanted to buy a new house for us. He wanted to buy a house in a safer and nicer neighborhood compared to where we lived, which was Oakland, which is a very dangerous city in the Bay Area. And when he put the down payment on the house and came home to announce to us, to the family, I bought a new house, we can move now, I was upset. The reason I was upset was because I've grown up in Oakland all my life, I made all my friends there, and I didn't want to move. Now, being the good dad that he was, he decided, okay, I get that. You know what, I'll try to make it work, and I'll try to keep both of the houses. And so he resorted to selling marijuana because he knew some friends that did it, and he thought it might be a good way of making some quick cash. And now, well, that ended up with him being in prison. And so, I guess looking back again, I was really foolish. And the fact that maybe, most likely because of me, he's in prison, and I've lived with this eternal guilt for the past 6 years, and it still hasn't been resolved. And so I want to start to right the wrong that I started. And so 3 actions that I've already taken to show that I've committed to this well, the first action is by taking care of my siblings while he was gone. My siblings were about 4 or 5 years old then, and they were starting school. I was starting my freshman year of high school. I would take them to the school every day, pick them up from after school, make them food, make sure they go to bed, etc. And secondly, I took care of my grandpa as well. He was reaching a very old age, and he was getting really sick. And sometimes he wasn't even able to make food for himself. So I took care of my siblings and my grandpa. And lastly, because my dad wasn't around, our home was about to be foreclosed. And I knew that if he was around, he would be the one to deal with this. But me being the new man of the house, I had to step it up. And so I went to a lot of different programs to help us save our house. Eventually, long story short, our home wasn't foreclosed. And I've always wanted to have kids in the future, but I've never realized how hard it would be to be a parent. And being almost like my dad for so many years, I realized it's going to be a lot more difficult than I thought it would be. So in summary, I told you about 2 reasons and 3 actions that I've taken to demonstrate my personal commitment of being the best son that I can be. And where these 2 reasons include me being selfish and him putting me before himself. And I hope you can all understand that. And after the speech, you can all see that he is actually indeed a good person and a good dad. And growing up, I see myself making a decent amount of money, and hopefully that will be enough to help support my family and my dad as well, so that he'll never have to worry about being in prison again.
Okay, thank you. Those 6 minutes. Can you turn off the thing that's in your eyes over there? Just button on the left, top left, your left. That covers the box. Yeah, thanks. Like the speech, it was very personal. Sharing that your father was in prison took a lot of courage. I appreciate that very much. Your thesis preview was fine. Your significant statement was you need to remember it's selling to the audience, not to yourself. So you were just telling more of the story about your father and not selling it to the audience. I know you'll be interested in the story because it would sound like that. On your first story, I liked it. You went to the Kmart and your father bought you both video games. Even though he gave up his watch, that was a good story, good emotional tug there. The second story on 2 houses and selling marijuana and you feeling guilty because you were part of the reason you wanted to stay in Oakland was an interesting thing. I hope that you talked to somebody about this because, you know, your father is an adult and he made his decisions and he has free will and he wasn't forced to do anything, right? So I hope you won't carry too much guilt around about that. On your actions, remember to number them 1, 2, 3, real prominently with your voice. On the feelings that you had in taking the actions, I think this is where you were talking about how tough it is to be a parent and so forth. Your summary and your conclusion and tieback were fine. The only problem is you were over time. Okay? Thank you. Okay, next. Moving along. We're out of time. Hi. How you doing?
Good.
Good. Bear area, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. He's in a bear area. All right.
Okay. Hi, my name is Erica.
Hi, Erica.
Dennis Waitley once said that time and health are the most precious resources that we don't realize that we have until they've been depleted. And I completely agree with this statement. If we don't take care of our bodies while we're young, time can take them away from us, but we have time to appreciate it. So for this reason, I'm dedicated to my personal commitment of good nutrition and fitness. And I know you will all be interested in hearing why I'm committed to this because it can add years to your life but also add quality to the years that you already have. And it's something that we can all strive for. So I will share with you 2 reasons why I'm committed to this and 3 actions I've taken to reach this goal. So my first reason that I'm committed to this is because it is a great way to avoid stress. School and all the other activities that I have going on during the fall and the winter and the spring really add a lot of stress. And if you don't take control of that stress, it just builds and builds, and it's a spiraling effect. So by exercising and getting enough sleep, you can stay on top of yourself and maintain balance and never have to feel that stress. The second reason why I'm committed to this is because it gives me better confidence. The first semester of junior year, I had a lot of classes on my plate, and it was really hard, and I wanted to put school first so I could be at the top of my performance. But in doing that, I ignored exercise and sleep in an effort to create all the time that I needed, but that actually backfired on me, and it just made me really stressed out, and it made me lose confidence because I wasn't exercising, I wasn't in the best shape, and I wasn't comfortable. So the second semester of junior year, I said I was going to do it differently, and I made exercise and sleep a priority, and ate a healthier diet, and didn't stress eat, and it had a lot of positive effects. And I lost 10 pounds in a span of like 2 months, doing it the healthy way, and it made me feel really good. So the 3 actions that I've taken towards my goal are keeping exercise a priority, keeping sleep a priority, and eating healthy and not eating out of stress. And when I do all these actions, I feel in control of my actions and in balance with everything in my life, working together instead of against each other. So, in summary, I've told you 2 reasons why I'm committed to health and fitness and 3 actions I have taken to achieve this goal. And there should be no doubt in this room that I am committed to this. And in accordance with the quote in the beginning, you need to treat your body right now before time keeps it away from you, and appreciate your health and make sure it stays there for a long time. Thank you.
Thank you. 255. You could have added a little to the speech. As I've said to others, when you have a quote from somebody, you want to say who they are. Do we all know who Dennis Waitley is? No. Do you know? No. Okay, Google him or her and see what they're up to. Are they a writer or that sort of thing? There's a famous Waitley that's a philosopher, but I don't think it's the same one. Anyway, case, your thesis, previous 6 statements set up were all fine. Your first reason, I would have liked more of a personal story on it. You kept it kind of in the second and third person, and to say that you didn't really talk about yourself so much and not so much of a story. However, your second reason was a good story about how you freaked out and went overboard with no sleep and no rest and bad food, and it hurt you, and then you had a happy ending to that story where you got your act together, and so that was good. Remember to stay in the power stance as a habit. On your actions, I liked that they were short and sweet and really quick to the point, and your summary, conclusion, and your tie back to Waitley were good. You said better eye contact, move 3 times, stick to the outline. How'd it go?
Better than last time. I think I stuck to the outline, but I could have elaborated more.
Yeah.
So it's a happy medium.
Okay, and don't hesitate to be more personal, in terms of things you talked about, the way we just heard someone talk about his father going to prison, that sort of personal. Thank you very much, Erica.
The video's really bright, like it's like shining off their face, just so you know.
Yeah, it's too bright.
Yeah, you can't really see their face that much.
Okay, so maybe we need to do this and this.
Yeah, that's a little
Is
bit
that better? We'll try that. Hi.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good.
Good.
Hi, I'm Caitlin.
Hi, Caitlin.
So have any of you guys had a younger sibling, maybe a family member or friend who literally mimics everything that you do? Well, I do. I have a little cousin that will repeat anything I say or anything I do. So today I want to tell you about my personal commitment to becoming a positive role model for children. I'm going to share with you 2 reasons why I'm personally committed to this and 3 actions that I've taken to demonstrate this personal commitment. I think all of us have had those people in our lives that inspire us and that we look up to, and it's our job to maybe make this a personal goal for ourselves to seize an opportunity to take a child under our wing or to be a positive influence for them. So the first reason why I'm personally committed to being a positive role model for children is from an experience I had as a soccer coach of a team of 5th graders. So I loved all of these girls, and it was a great summer teaching them and being their coach. But I became especially close with one player named Sierra. And she was a great little player. She loved soccer, and we would always chat before and after practice. But I noticed I never got to meet her parents because they never were able to come to any of our games or pick her up from practice. And for our last game, she ran up to me and gave me a big hug, and she gave me a card. And when I read the card, I couldn't believe what it said. She wrote that soccer practice was her favorite part of every day, that I was one of her biggest fans, and that she wanted to go to UCLA like me and become a professional soccer player. And from that moment on, I knew that I wanted to use my life to inspire girls like this and to be a positive role model for them. The second reason why I'm personally committed to being a positive role model is from an experience that I had when I was in middle school. I went to a summer camp with a lot of my best friends, and the camp was dedicated towards living your life for God. And at the time, I wasn't a Christian, but I had an amazing experience, and the counselors and staff were all really young, and I was so inspired by their love for life and for their faith. And it was amazing to me that complete strangers got to know me so well and opened my eyes to something so new and something that is such a big part of my life today. And I'm so grateful that I had those role models at that time, and that complete strangers could have such an effect on me. So I'm going to share with you 3 actions I've taken since then to be a better role model. One, I have participated in UCLA Dance Marathon for the last 4 years, and for those of you who don't know what that is, it's an organization that raises money for kids with pediatric AIDS, and you dedicate 24 hours of dancing, and it's to go through this emotional and physically demanding struggle, just like kids do who experience AIDS and HIV. The second action I've taken is I've become a mentor and tutor for a middle school in Venice, and that's been an awesome opportunity for me to kind of target kids who don't have as much support and inspire them to work hard in school and to go to college. And my third reason is just being more conscious of my actions around kids. Maybe it's my little cousin or kids running around on campus, but they do like to mimic you, so just being really conscious of what I'm doing. So in summary, I've given you 2 reasons why I'm personally committed to being a positive role model and 3 actions I've taken. Being involved in a fundraiser for pediatric AIDS, being a tutor, and being conscious of my actions. And I challenge all of you to really seize your opportunity and reflect on the people that have inspired you and made a difference in your life, and to be sure to, when you're around kids, be conscious of what you do and seize an opportunity to be a good influence on them.
Thank you. 348. Liked your speech. Thought that you set it up well. You started with a rhetorical question, a little one that copies everything we do. I would have liked to have had more of a copy cat at the end, vivid, more tie-back, but that was a small issue. Your thesis 6 statement were all fine. On your first story of your first reason, your soccer 5th graders with Sierra and her giving you a note at the end that made it all worthwhile and inspired you to want to be a good role model. It was a good story, well told. On your second story about going to, I don't know what, Forest Home or camp, Christian camp, to have a camp session, you weren't particularly planning to convert, but you found that the vibes and the people and how they got to know you and their attitudes and what they had to say were very impressive, and you used them as a role model. So that was good. Dance marathon, good, consistent with your PC. I would like you to have talked about, and so that I'm a model, I'm raising funds. The volunteer was good for a role model, and aware of your actions as a babysitter was also good. So your summary, conclusion, and tieback. I didn't see any goals down here. What were your goals?
Word economy was one of them. You didn't like the shirt I wore.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, those are two I remember.
Okay. Good. Well, you look very credible today, if there's
Thanks.
any consolation. And whether we like it or not, it's not trivial matter. People do judge us and look at us and how we're dressed, and there's tons of studies on, there's books, Dress for Success, and so on and so forth. So, and there's a lot of stuff in the Wall Street Journal on dressing at work and so forth. Overall, you did a nice job, Caleb. Thank you. We're moving along. Okay. Band attention, communicating respect, finding friendly eyes. Near the front and center, say your name, feel the love, start your speech.
Hi, I'm Hao.
Hi, How.
So can you imagine that a person could lose 10 pounds in 2 weeks without doing any exercise? Well, I did. And it was not a good thing. It was dangerous, actually. It implies that your body function was decreasing dramatically, and you will lose your appetite, your attention, and every important thing that you think is very important in your lives. Today I want to share with you my personal commitment to exercise 3 times a week, to keep your body function well, and to be a healthy person. I'll give you 2 reasons and 3 actions to demonstrate what I have done to personal commitment. The first reason is that during last quarter, I took 4 classes, and 4 of them all are pretty intense. So when the final comes, I was all freaked out. And at the same time, my parents came to visit me, and neither of them speaks English. So that means I had to literally take care of them. I had to take them to the restaurants to order food for them, and took them to the shopping malls and to explain how much the clothing and other stuff are. So I was pretty freaked out, and during my last 4 days before the final, I decided to stay up whole night and live on 5-hour energy. It was a bad decision. It turns out that I lost 10 pounds in 2 weeks without doing any exercise, and I did very bad on my exams. What I felt about this is that even though I feel bad about my grades, but I feel worse when my body doesn't function well. So I went to the doctor. The doctor warned me to live like a normal person, to get some sleep, and the most important, to just do some exercise. The second reason why I'm personally committed to do exercise 3 times a week is because when I started to doing exercise, I felt the most difficult thing is not to run 5 kilometers or 10 kilometers on the running machine. The most difficult thing is to get yourself up off the bed and go to the gym. So one day I read a book. It's called How to Build Up a Habit in 21 Days. And it teaches you about how to build up a habit in 21 days. So the most important thing it says is to repeat and repeat. So I set up a schedule for myself to exercise 3 times a week. Then I know which day is the exercise day and which day is my relax day. So it helps me to focus on my exercise, and it makes me easier to get myself off the couch and to go to the gym. So the 3 actions I have done to demonstrate my personal commitments are: first, I try to persuade my roommates to be my exercise buddy, because that would be easier if both of us could leave the dorm together and to go to the gym. And second, I'm planning to join a hiking club in the following fall quarter, so that I could get involved in a social event that I could do exercise with many people together. And third, I have set up an alarm in my phone to track my exercise schedule. So in summary, I have given you 2 reasons and 3 actions of my personal commitments to exercise 3 times a week. And I think it's important to all of you because during our lives, we all have pressures in our lives and we all have difficult times. But the most important thing is not to get our work done in the first place, but to keep our body healthy. And that's all.
Thank you. 245. Liked your speech. I think that you started with a dramatic opening that was good. Losing 10 pounds by drinking 5-hour energy drinks or whatever you did is a cautionary tale. I wouldn't drink it even if I didn't want to lose weight. On your personal commitment and your significant statement, they were all good. The first story you told was your parents coming and you being under great stress, and you stayed up all this time and you lost all this time and you passed out and you had to go to the doctor. That was good storytelling, and that helped, affirm your personal commitment. The second way you talked about was a book about how to build a habit in 21 days, and you stressed, as I was stressing with learning the habit of being respectful to people, that repetition is the repetition of the mantra, I respect you, saying it all the time as you walk around is a way that it will become a habit. On your actions, they were good. You skipped one step. When I take these actions, I feel good, I feel better. Remember, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And so your summary, your conclusion, and tieback were all good. Your goal was to be personal, and you were to be coherent and to be comprehensive. How'd it go?
I think it's much more personal than last time because I talked about Michael Jackson and Britney Spears last time.
Right. Not very personal. Okay, thank you very much. Hi. How you doing? That's good. Okay, manage attention, communicate in respect, finding friendly eyes near the front presenter. Say your name, you'll love stage speech.
Hi, everyone. I'm Zilei.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm very glad to stand here to share my personal commitment. Have you ever thought something should be like this, but actually the reality is totally different from what you expected? Actually, people sometimes are very confident in their views, and even some other views are totally different from them. And yes, confidence is good, but sometimes there is not good to be too confident. And I used to be very overconfident when I was young, and this character really put me into some embarrassing and bad situations. So I made a personal commitment to being a modest person and always listen to others' suggestions. So I would like to share you with two stories about the reason why I made this personal commitment and 3 actions I take to demonstrate it. So the first story is happened when I was very young, and I was around 7 years old. I lived in my grandma's house during my summer vacation, and there was a backyard, and there would be many insects in the backyard, and I liked to catch the insect and play with them. And one day, one day I found there appeared many dragonflies. The tiny and colorful one, they're very beautiful, so I caught lots of them. And I thought it should be dozens of them, so I put all of them into big bottles. I still remember it's a Coca-Cola bottle like this size. I think it's really big enough to let these dragonflies to live, and I was very proud, so I showed it to all of my friends, and one of my friends told me, you should release them as soon as possible. The room is too small for them. But at that time, I was very proud about my achievement for these dragonflies, so I ignored his suggestions, and I think I just kept them for a while, not forever, right? So it's okay, but the reality really, really hurt me. Just after one afternoon, all dragonflies died. Then the separated and scattered organs and parts of the dragonflies really impressed me a lot. It's shocking me, and it's left my childhood a shadow. Yes, because I was very young at that time. It's really hard, and so I still can remember the things at that time, and the results of these matters always remind me that I should never decide one thing to rush and never listen to others' suggestions. And that's the first story. And the second is when I was in my middle school, I compared a position with my best friend Lucy. This is a position in the student union, and both my friend and I really wanted to get this position. However, we are the best friends, so we did not want to compete with others. So after some consideration, I decided to give up this chance to get the position and let my best friend to get. And I decided did not to tell her my decision, and I want to give him a pleasant surprise. But actually, yes, it surprised her, but not a pleasant one. She was very, very angry about my decision, and she shouted to me, "You never cared about my feelings, and you always thought in your perspective, and you thought I was happy. No, totally no." Things like this. Actually, I feel very upset and confused at that time, because I lost my chance to get the position, and I lost my best friend at the same time, and I don't know why. So, but later on, I gradually realized and understand the things in this world, what happened to me, why I made these mistakes, because I was always overconfident, and I always think in my perspective, in my aspect, and never think in others' shoes, and it's really bad and it's really wrong. So I made this personal commitment. So then I want to share the 3 behaviors I taken to demonstrate my personal commitment. The first one is always ask for other suggestions before I made a very important decision. And the second is try to verify the truth before I jump to a conclusion. And the third one is always be modest and think in others' shoes. So I think it's really helpful to make this personal commitment, because I found when I made this commitment, I really made fewer mistakes than before. So in summary, I think being a modest person is very, very important, and it's all very important to listen to others' suggestions, because it's good for self-improvement. The simplest case is in this class, when I finished my presentations, some of you guys and the proofs will give me the advices, and which can make me develop myself. I think that's a good example. Yes, that's all.
Thank you. 6:37, way over time. You need to time it and edit next time so that you don't go over. I'll stop you next time. I like yours was a unique speech. You admitted that you were arrogant and overconfident, and it got you into trouble. That was good. That was very personal. I like the way you shared that. On your killing the dragonflies and not giving them oxygen, even though your friends told you to release them, but you knew better. That was a good story, and you shared your feelings, and the moral of the story at the end, it just took you too long to tell the story. So shorten that up, work on word economy. On your second story of your friend that you gave up the position for the student union and she was angry at you for that and you lost a friend and you lost a position, that was pretty good. I would have liked to have had a little more feelings on that. Your actions were good. A little bit more on how you feel about your actions, how it feels to be a more modest person. I think it's good. Your summary, your conclusion, and tie back were all fine. What were your goals? Did you have goals that you were trying to achieve for the speech?
I think I want to overcome my, and always be a little nervous, but
Nervous, yeah.
But I don't think I have did a good job because I'm still nervous.
Yeah. Well, the more you speak and the more you speak out in class, you'll become desensitized to the act of public speaking and it won't be such a big deal. But you did a nice job. Thank you. Okay, next. Hi.
Hello everyone, I'm Lile.
Hi, Lile.
Would you expect that I used to be an extremely introverted girl who doesn't like to interact with people at all? Even I myself couldn't believe that years later I'm standing here and giving you an English speech. However, it is understandable because during the years I've been putting in so many efforts to try to be more social. Today, I'm going to give you 2 reasons and 3 actions I have taken to demonstrate my personal communicate. That is to be more social. And I think you will be interested in my story because it is the story, it is the one of the experiences that changed my life and built up what I am like today. The first reason is that when I was young, I got tired of being so introverted and I don't like myself being like that. I was shy since I was born. When I was an infant, a baby, I don't like to be held by others. And if they do so, I would cry. Even when my parents have to have meals, I don't want others to help me. And when I could speak, I don't like to talk to people. Even with those I knew but I'm not familiar with. I still remember that once when I was 4 years old, I and my grandma came across one of our neighbors. After they greeted each other, because I didn't greet the neighbor, I just walked over with my head down. Then she laughed and said, "Is this girl a mute? I never heard her talking." And then they laughed together. Although it's a joke that I think is not funny. And although I was young, but that wound my pride. For the first time in my life, I hate myself, my fear of talking to others. My second reason is that when I was in high school, once our class was voting for 8 out of 50 students for a certification. That is for the outstanding students. Mostly, they would just choose the students they know and they like. I thought I would be chosen because that time I ranked the 3rd for the just passed final, and I think I'm responsible. I'm a responsible class cadre, and I love my classmates. But to my disappointment, I wasn't chosen. So it made me depressed and it made me reflect on myself. I think maybe I was too introverted that for the past whole year, I haven't talked to even half of my class. So to change this, I want to tell you 3 actions I have taken to demonstrate my personal commitment to be more social. The first action I took was to take the initiative to speak in public. I used to be afraid of talking in front of many people. Even when I answered a simple question in class, my face would turn red and my voice sounds nervous and my heart beat faster. To change this, I actively expressed my view during a debate or volunteered to answer a question during class. The second action I took was to interact with my classmates. I joined a lot of activities and take my responsibility in the class and talk to as many of our classmates as I can. And end of the second year of high school, my classmates was voting for one person for a municipal certification, and I got the most votes. The third action I took was to develop my self-confidence by removing negative thoughts. I think I was introverted mostly because I lacked self-confidence. I would think, what if I suddenly forget what to say during a speech? What if I answer the question wrongly? What if the other person thinks I am ridiculous after I talk to them? So to change this, I just put in as enough effort as I can and make sure these bad things won't happen. And it worked out. At the end of my high school, I could face the interviewer with a smile on my face, and I got this scholarship out of many competitors. So to sum up, I have told you 2 reasons why I want to be social and 3 actions I've taken. And to conclude, it's a theme of my life, and it lasts, it continues. And up till now, I'm taking this course, I'm standing here and giving you a speech, overcoming my fear. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you. 450, liked your speech, thought it was very personal, kind of on point with a public speaking class. That was good. I liked your introduction and your confession about not being very extroverted, and that was good. On your first story, I liked the way you expressed your hurt at not being voted, the neighbor calling you a deaf mute, and it hurting your feelings. That was very good. And then your second story about not being voted in by your classmates, not being well liked by your classmates, was also another wake-up call, very personal story that I like that you told. Your actions, it's where you went overtime. You needed to just say, I speak in public, I debate, I do model United Nations, I interact with, that's where you went overtime, was you gave us too much detail of the actions you were taking. And you did have your feelings in there, so that was good. And your summary, your conclusion, and tie back were all fine. So you did a very nice job. Thank you. You're just rushing forward.
If you don't like it, I can sit. I don't mind not doing it at all.
Great.
Okay, hi, I'm Julia.
Hi, Julia.
So there is one thing you know about me, you know a lot about me, and the thing is that my favorite saying is the sky's the limit. Okay? I don't know where it comes from. I don't know if it's because I'm very rebellious and I like to go beyond the limits. I don't know why. But it made me very committed to making the best out of my time. So I really hope you guys enjoy it, and I really hope you guys endorse my personal commitment, because as much as it might seem very obvious, we sometimes get carried away and forget to make the best out of our time. So the first reason why, I'm going to show you 2 reasons and 2 actions. The first reason is my father. Ever since I started being a grown-up, my father shared with my sisters and I stories about his past and how he was always here and there and always making the best out of his time and always traveling just because he felt like it, waking up and saying to go to Lebanon just because he could. And my father was a very spoiled kid because he's the youngest of his sisters and he's the only boy. So in our family, this is the perfect recipe for being spoiled. And he was very spoiled, still is, but it made him enjoy his time. I mean, without really caring about all the consequences. He was always on the run. He was always doing things and traveling and meeting new people. And he always encouraged us to be the same. I mean, with restrictions because he knows what's out there. So he's tougher on us than his father was on him, but he still encourages us to do that. The second reason why I'm personally committed to making the best out of my time is because I haven't been very fortunate in my past. I have faced a lot of losses, families and friends, some expected, some unexpected. But this led to a lot of regret. I regretted some moments that I could have enjoyed more, that I could have made something positive out of. And this is the reason why I decided to like enjoy my time with everyone, the people I know, the people I don't know, just for myself, not for the people. And the actions I took to get there is, first of all, I decided to, when I say do the best, what you think is best for you, and what I think is best for me is to enjoy my company while it's there, but at the same time trying to find new company, trying to find new places. So the two actions are, the first one is to get out of my group of friends and make myself new experiences, try to find new experiences. And this is actually the reason why I'm here, is to make myself a new story. And the second action is to really try and enjoy the company. I was a very aggressive person. I really am a very aggressive person. So I try to be more and more positive. I try to give positive waves more than negative ones, and try to let go of all the things that anger me, whether my sisters, my friends, or the people, usually the people I deal with. So yeah, these are the two actions and the two reasons why I'm very committed to making the best out of my time. And I really hope it's very obvious, but at the same time it's very important, and we tend to forget this a lot. So as I said in my introduction, to me the sky is the limit, because I do really believe that you can always overcome the bad things, and you can always find the positive thing, find the light in your life, like there's always light in the sky.
Great, thank you. 339. Liked the speech a lot. I thought that you opened it up with the sky is the limit, and that gave and a confession that you've always been rebellious, and you wanted to tell us that your goal is to make the best of the time that you have, and so that was pretty good. And you got the group involved with your speech by saying, I think you'll enjoy my PC. On the first story you told the story of your father, who was the only boy, and so he was spoiled, and he flew all over and had a ball and enjoyed himself, and encouraged you to do the same within limits of what's going on in the world. And so that was a good story. I would have liked to have had a little bit more of feelings and morals in that, but still it was good. On your story 2, you were too general. You said you had a lot of losses and things in your life. You mentioned down here, you didn't mention in your speech about your grandfather. I wish you had spent more time with him. Apparently he's passed away, right? So be more specific, give names to the losses. Don't be afraid to share them. Don't be afraid to have that feeling again of how bad you felt. On your actions, yes, your actions were good. Just remember at the end of the action, you were supposed to say how you feel, that you feel good about living the way you live. And you're playing with your necklace a little bit, so get rid of that. And your tie back was excellent. So overall, you did a nice job. Thank you. Okay, keep coming forward. Is that everyone? No? Come on. Camera's running. Hi.
Hi, my name is Eva.
Hi, Eva.
So, when I'm ordering food, I'm always faced with the decision, do I want a salad or do I want a burrito? And in itself, it's not that difficult a question, but when I have to ask myself more private questions, like, what do I want to study in college? What college do I want to go to? The answer is not going to come so easily. Today I want to share my personal commitment to always being honest, specifically being honest with myself. I'm going to share with you 2 reasons why I'm personally committed to this, and 3 actions I've taken to prove that I've been honest with myself. And I think that being honest is really important, not only for me, but for everyone as well, because you always have to ask yourself these different questions, and I find being honest really helps you with making your choices. So the first reason that I'm personally committed to being honest is because I don't want to regret the choices that I make. When I was a freshman in college at UCLA, I made a decision to study business econ. which was a mistake because I found out I hated econ and econ hates me. I wasn't being honest with myself about what I truly wanted to study, which was English, because a lot of people were like, oh, you want to be a teacher? And I'm like, no. So, I don't know, their expectations and stuff kind of clashed with mine, and I thought maybe I should be a business econ major instead. But when I decided to be honest with myself and study English, I felt really happy, and I felt more like I was the person I wanted to be. The second reason that I decided to be personally committed to being honest with myself is because I want to face my fears. This is embarrassing to admit, but I'm 19 years old and I don't have a driver's license. When my friends would ask me, oh, why don't you have your driver's license? You're like 3 years too late because everyone else got it at 16. And I'm like, I'm lazy. I want a chauffeur to drive me around. It's such a hassle. I have to pay for gas. But in truth, I was lying to them and I was lying to myself. 4 years ago, someone that I was friends with died in a drunk car accident. They were coming home with her family from Nevada for a family wedding. And this drunk idiot rammed into the car on the wrong way, and she had so many dreams, and she just graduated from high school, and now it's all gone. So the reason why I don't have a driver's license is because of that. When I decided to finally get my driver's license, I was struck still and I was afraid. But when I was honest with myself, I could finally take the action and learn how to drive, which is why I have my driver's permit. Finally. Three actions that I've taken to prove that I'm personally committed to being honest with myself is that I meditate in the showers. I ask myself what I want, how I feel about certain things. 2, when people ask me questions, I always look inside myself and I answer them honestly. And 3, the third action to prove that I'm personally committed to being honest is that I'm here before you today, bearing my heart. And when I did all of these, I felt really fulfilled. I felt like I was being the person I wanted to be, and I feel really happy. In summary, I have shared with you 2 reasons why I'm personally committed to being honest, 3 actions that I've taken, and how they made me feel. In conclusion, I've shown you why there should be no doubt in knowing that I'm honest with myself, and that I have taken actions to prove this. So when I ask myself, do I want a salad or a burrito, I'm going to have to be honest, I really want the burrito.
Okay, thank you. Staff for some feedback. You went 4:33, a little bit over time. Like your personal commitment, it was personal, and you shared a lot of private stories about yourself, and that was good. I especially like your biz econ story, and that you wanted to be English, and that biz. I like the way you put it. You hated biz econ, and biz econ hated you. Yeah, I never thought that should have been a major for undergraduates. I voted against it as a faculty member, but I lost. So now I can point to all the unhappy biz econ majors and say, Told you, it's bad for undergraduates to try to be CPAs. They need a liberal arts education. They don't need to be turned into a calculator. Okay, I'll get off my high horse. On your second story about your driver's license, I thought that was good. I was touched by the drunken story that you told, and it was a sad story, and you had a moral at the end of that, so that was good. Remember to put the moral in at the end of your first story. Your actions were all consistent with your PC. Your summary, your conclusion, and tieback were fine. More concise, more fluid, more eye contact. How'd it go?
I thought I was more concise than last time. I went a little over, so I could have been more better with my word economy. I thought I did okay with eye contact. Maybe I could have focused on the 5 points. And yeah.
Okay, thank you. You did a nice job, Eva. Take your driver's license with you.
Yeah.
Okay, next.
Hola, yo soy Megan.
Hola.
Y
Hi.
yo quiero aprender a hablar español para comunicarse con mucha gente en el mundo. So have you ever felt like you were lost in translation or like you couldn't communicate with someone? So what I just said was, my name's Megan, and I want to learn how to speak Spanish to communicate with a lot of people around the world. And I'm going to give you 2 reasons and 3 actions that I've taken in order to demonstrate my personal commitment. And I think living in such a diverse country, it's so important to be able to be bilingual and communicate with other people to break down language barriers. And especially in California, being able to speak Spanish is really important. So the first reason I'm personally committed to learning how to speak Spanish is because of my heritage. And my grandfather was born in Spain and came to the United States, but he passed away when I was 4, so I never really was accustomed to him speaking with our family, and the language kind of died with him in a way. Other than like rooting for the Spanish football team or like making paella, that's pretty much the extent of how my family has honored our heritage. But in 8th grade, I went with my family and visited our Spanish family in Spain and stayed with them. And it was an incredible experience, and at that point I only had 1 year of Spanish, but it really motivated me to want to learn more, so when I go back, I could be able to communicate with them better. So that first reason was my heritage. And the second reason why I want to be able to learn to speak Spanish is from my volunteer experience in Mexico, and noticing how important it is to be able to directly communicate with someone in their native language is really huge, especially in the health field, and they gain so much trust and are just hanging on every word. And I feel like it's so much more impactful when you're talking directly to someone as opposed to going through a mediator or a translator. So that's the second reason, wanting to be a nurse in the future, that I think it would be really important. From these 2 reasons, I've taken 3 actions to accomplish my goal. And the first one is just taking Spanish classes in high school and at UCLA and working towards my minor. The second reason is by volunteering at a free health clinic in Venice, and it's called Venice Family Clinic, and majority of the patients who come there are Hispanic speaking, so it's a way to get a lot of practice with medical terms and most importantly just gain confidence in trying, and I think that's a huge part of overcoming the language barrier, just being confident in trying. And the third way is one I haven't done yet, but what I really would love to do is to go to a South American country like Peru or Honduras and volunteer there. And there's programs that also have a Spanish-speaking portion that will help you get immersed in the culture. And that's the third action I would like to take. So from these actions, I have already felt like a lot of pride in my heritage and being able to communicate using the Spanish language. And also, just in my volunteer work, it's been awesome to see, be able to communicate with patients and gain that trust. And in summary, I've given you the 2 reasons why I'm dedicated to this personal commitment and my 3 actions, which were taking courses in Spanish, volunteering in Venice for primarily Hispanic-speaking patients, and going abroad. So I feel like there shouldn't be a doubt that I'm really personally committed to this because of how prideful I am in my family and what I want to do in the future. And in summary, si puedes hablar en una lengua diferente, el mundo es más pequeño, which means if we are able to speak a different language, the world becomes smaller.
Thank you. 402. Very nice and creative introduction, speaking Spanish. It was consistent with the speech that you gave, and so that was good. It showed that you're working toward that goal. I liked your significant statement. Your first story about your grandfather was sort of a throwaway, but the crux of your story was going to Spain and practicing your Spanish and being inspired to learn even more. Just would have liked to have had a little bit more of a moral in the story, and some more emotions would have been good. How good it felt to meet your relatives. On your second story, your second reason of wanting to be a nurse and the Flying Samaritans and not being that fluent in Tijuana and so forth was good storytelling, and again, the moral would have been helpful. Your actions were all consistent with your PC, and I think that you had your feelings in there too about how you felt about taking the action, so that was good. The summary was detailed, I like that, and you still didn't go overtime even though you had a detailed summary, so you really had a good redundancy in your speech. And then you had a good tie back with your Spanish quote. Word economy, not going overtime and not talking too fast. How'd it go?
I think better. I might still talk pretty fast though.
Yeah, and the way to cure that would be to do some editing and to cut some things down. I think I would have cut out the part about the uncle and just gone to we went back to Spain, and that would pick up some time. But you did a very nice job. Thank you. Okay, keep coming.
Hi everyone, I'm Nora.
Hi Nora.
So I'm going to start my speech by saying that life always begins when when you step outside your comfort zone. And today I will talk to you about my personal commitment, which is to get out of my comfort zone. And I will be sharing with you 2 reasons why I'm committed to this, and 2 other actions that I've taken to demonstrate this commitment. First of all, I will tell you the reason why I'm committed to get out of my comfort zone. I'm raised in a very close family. I'm very close to my parents and my siblings, and I'm actually very dependent on them, so I don't really do crazy stuff and go around and travel alone and that thing. And when I entered my school, I was with my sister all along, my twin sister, all along the 10th grade. And on the 10th grade, I had to leave school because I had some issues. I'm not that good academically, so I had some issues. I was in an international baccalaureate school. I used to study in French, so I was facing difficulties, and I had to leave school and go to another school and leave my sister and all my friends that I'm considering my family because we're so close, and that's what my comfort zone was. And I left school and I went to another school that was really challenging because it was in high school, so it was very difficult to fit in, and I used to study in English, but I had to study French, and that was really challenging, and I felt really uncomfortable being there. At first I didn't fit in instantly. I got time to fit in and to realize that I'm studying in English and not in French. That was really hard for me. So I was committed to change myself and look for the bright side and try to be comfortable, to open to new people and engage myself with studying in English. The second reason was when actually I graduated high school, all my friends, my new friends actually, were going abroad to study, and the thought never even crossed my mind to go study abroad and leave my family behind. So that was really, I felt like I had to change, I have to challenge myself more and get out of the comfort zone, but I didn't really intend to do this. So now I'm going to tell you about the action that I took. First of all, me being here, that was the the first action that I took to get out of comfort zone. I never really thought about it to leave my sister and go all along to America. I'm Egyptian, so I live in Egypt. To go all along to America all alone to study. Okay, I did it for only the summer session, but that was really challenging for me as a new thing that I never used to. So that was the first action, and the second action was when when I really
Public speaking course. You enrolled in the public speaking course. That's out of your comfort zone.
Okay, yes, I enrolled in the second thing that I enrolled in this course. Actually, I'm very shy. I don't used to get to speak in front of people at all. That was my issue since I was little. So I usually avoid speaking in class. I usually avoid talking in class or engaging in any kind of class talks. So that was challenging for me to take this course, specifically this course in the country, not in my country, not with the people I know. So that was really challenging for me to get out of my comfort zone. And that's it. So in summary, I told you 2 reasons why I'm personally committed to get out of my comfort zone, and 2 actions that I took to achieve my personal commitment. And I think that everyone should get out of the comfort zone, as I assume that pretty much of you have something they fear. So it's helpful to get out of it and experience the world and experience what the world have to offer.
Thank you. 4:30, and a little bit over. I liked your speech. I thought you talked about something personal and private, you being shy and not really like to travel and to speak and to do this kind of thing, and that you talked about being in the same high school all the way along and everything was swell. I think that I like the honesty of you telling us that you weren't that good academically and you had to switch schools. So that took some courage to tell us that, honestly, and it was hard to study in English, so I like that. I would have liked you to have bring the moral of the story back in, that, this was what inspired me to get out of my comfort zone. And then all your second story of all your friends going abroad, and then you suddenly thinking, maybe I should do something like that. And even though it's just for the summer, still it took some courage, and you got out of your comfort zone by coming to UCLA. I threw you off. I apologize by giving you the time signal, but your actions were fine. And I appreciate you taking the public speaking course, because that took courage to get out of your comfort zone and to try to do that. Yeah, and your summary, your conclusion, and tie back were all fine. So you did a nice job. Thank you. I haven't told you anything yet. Good try. Okay, we're rolling.
Hi everyone, I'm Isardo.
Come a step forward, please. Thank you.
Good?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay. So a famous poet once said, "Health is a better wealth." And today I'm going to tell you why I'm personally committed to living a healthier lifestyle. The first reason, and 3 actions I'm going to take to make that happen. So the first reason I want to be personally committed to living a healthier lifestyle is because I didn't used to feel good about myself as a freshman. So when I first got here to UCLA, I was way too busy trying to join clubs and find out what my major was. So I forgot there was a gym, and I ended up gaining 25 pounds. And the bad thing about that was that I was scrawny and I was trying to gain weight, but I was just looking really pregnant and scrawny. So that was not a good thing. So I never went to the gym, and then I started realizing that I wasn't feeling good. I was always tired. I was always just feeling really down about myself. So that's the first reason why I want to start exercising. The second reason why I want to live a healthier lifestyle is because I want to set an example for my friends and family. Lots of my friends always complain that they're not feeling good about how they look, how the clothes fit, and how the clothes fit, and just when we go out, they're always complaining that they shouldn't be eating stuff. But most importantly, I've witnessed like my mom and my sister have struggled with their weight. And my mom's always tired and she always gets headaches, and I think it's because she doesn't eat right, she doesn't go to the gym. And then my sister, like we used to go shopping all the time, she used to try on dresses all the time and like buy a couple things. Like now she doesn't really ever try to go out and like find stuff because she doesn't have like high confidence. So I want to set an example for them, because if I'm busy, they can do it too. So the first action I have taken to make this happen is I started going to the gym. And you guys can ask Jordan, he works there, he sees me there every day. I try to do at least an hour of training, so I do like 20-minute cardio, and then I lift some weights afterwards. The second thing I've done is I started eating healthier, so like now that I moved out of the dorms, I cook for myself, and every time I go buy stuff, I usually like try to pay $1 or $2 extra for like organic or healthier food, and I actually really got used to it, so I don't miss the junk food as much as I thought I would. And the third thing I try to do is try to go to sleep earlier. During the school year, I usually get about 6 hours of sleep, and I'm usually really, really tired. So the good thing is that one of my roommates goes to sleep really early, and that sort of pressures me into going to sleep early too. And I feel better now that I do that, because I just feel like more energized and I'm eating better, and it just makes me feel better about myself, and I feel like I'm actually getting more fit. So in conclusion, I've shown you 2 reasons why I want to live a healthier lifestyle, and 3 actions I've taken to make this possible. So there should be no doubt in this room that I'm going to live a healthier lifestyle. And back to my quote, you know how they say money can't buy happiness. I guess this proves that health is the better wealth after all. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. 255. I like the Virgil quote. I would like you to have mentioned him in the end, but you did tie back to it, and that was good. Your thesis preview was fine. You skipped over your significant statement, and you shouldn't have done that, because you had a really good one. You had a good statistic and quote, and you could have sold this a little more to the audience. On your main body, your first story of the freshman, not the freshman 15, but the freshman 25, was honest, and I appreciate that, and appreciate you telling how it happened. That was good. On your second story, you told about your overweight family, and you're trying to be a model for them so they will have better health and have better self-esteem and all those things, you know, that come with being in good health. On your actions, going to the gym, eating better food, I like your organic joke, and getting more sleep. These are all things consistent with your personal commitment, and so I like that, and you had a good tie back. 255, you could have put more story in. 255, you had about 1:15. You could have really expanded. You zipped through this, and your significant statement would have filled up some more of that. But other than that, you did a very nice job. Thank you. They just keep on coming. Yes, you may.
Hello everyone, my name is Chen.
Hi, Chen.
I'm sure that most of us have unpleasant experience due to our own irrational behaviors. And the commitment I will make today is to minimize the occurrence of such unpleasant things. And today, I want to share with you my personal commitment to control my temper and stay calm at all the time. And I will give you 2 reasons my personal commitment to stay calm, and I will give you 3 actions I've taken to demonstrate my personal commitment. And the topic I choose today, I think, is not only concerned with myself, it's the issue that all of us should concern about, because it is directly related to how we get along with others. And the first reason, my personal commitment to stay calm, is that I used to be a very stubborn person, or say it nicer, very strong-minded. I would do things whatever I choose, I think is right, and seldom thought about what others thought about it. Once we had an assignment that required us to do a presentation. And to be attractive, we decided to perform a drama. But during the discussion, there was a diverged with my friend and me. I told them that we need to put some comedy element into the drama to attract the audience, but all of them thought that it needs a lot of effort and it was not worth to do it. But I was very stubborn, as I mentioned before. I insist on it, and we continue to argue and argue. And finally, I even shouted at them, "Couldn't you see my idea is far better?" And finally, we did as what I planned. But when I recall this, I was very regretful because it was just a small task that among thousands of them we were doing in future. But for this small task, I did horrible things that nearly ruined something more treasurable and more valuable, that's the friendship. So I thought, it is time to learn to control my temper and stay calm. And the second reason I personal commitment to control my temper and stay calm is that I'm a person who is always eager to win, even in the games for entertainment. And once I played cards with my friends, and on that day I was very unlucky, and fortune just went against me when I always lost. But one of my friends, and I was getting annoyed and started to complain. And meanwhile, one of my friends just started to show off that how many times he had won and started to mock us. And I couldn't bear it. I could not bear it anymore, and I stood up and clapped the card onto the table, and the game just stopped. Now, when I remember this, the only word I think of is to describe myself is stupid. I just continue to ask myself, why did I do that? But I just could not think carefully at that moment. So these are two reasons why I personal commitment to stay calm. And there are three actions I've taken to demonstrate my personal commitment. The first is that I should think, I thought about issues on other side, not only on my own. If others make some decision, they must have their own considerations about the issues. So I must think why they come up with this idea, not just insist on my own. And the second action is that I should think about the consequence if I do that. I should think well. I should think about what I will gain and what I will lose before I do something. And third action is that when I feel angry, I will find something to distract my attention. Maybe I went to gym to take exercise. I took a shower and listened to music. I will transfer the anger to the motivation to do other things. So in summary, I have given you two reasons I personal commitment to control my temper and to stay calm all the time, and three actions I've taken to achieve this goal. And there's no doubt in this room that I really personal commitment to stay calm. And just as I mentioned at first, there are a lot of unpleasant experiences due to our own irrational behaviors. So before we take actions, we should think carefully. In some situations, we cannot follow our heart. So thank you.
Thank you. 4:25, just a little bit of overtime. Like your stories, and I like your PC that you wanted to remain calm, in other words, grow up. And I thought that your first story about the play and demanding that they do it your way or no way or the highway was well told, and you had a good moral compass at the end of that. Your second story about throwing the cards down on the table, again, was a good story, very vividly told, and didn't show you in the best of light, so I thought it took some courage to share these personal shortcomings that you have with your temper. It's nothing to be proud of, believe me. On your actions, I thought they were all consistent with your PC, and I think you're on the road to getting control of your temper by doing these things, exercise. Sometimes people say Tai Chi or meditation. 20 minutes twice a day gives you a calmness that lasts through the day and through the evenings. So that's another idea. Your summary, your conclusion, and tie back were all good, and you were pretty calm when you delivered your speech. So just for the 10 seconds you went overtime, you did a good job. Thank you. Next. Is that all the PCs? Oh, someone's hiding back there. Yeah. Come on down. Okay, rock and roll.
Hello everyone, my name is Hao Xiang.
Hi, Ho-Sean.
When I was in primary school, it's also the time I just started to learn English. I knew an English saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. So today I want to share with you my personal commitment to eat an apple a day. I will show you two reasons and three actions about my personal commitment. The first reason my personal commitment is when I was a little boy. At that time, I have many welts on my face, and I don't like it. I didn't like it any kinds of fruit. Until one day my mom told me that if I want to clear my welts on my face, the best way is to eat more fruits like the apples. So at first I could insist eat an apple a day, and the welts did become less and less. But sometime later, I couldn't insist, and when my mom asked me to eat an apple, I just replied her that the reason why the welts gone is I was growing to be a man, not the apples. So, however, unfortunately, several weeks later, the welts come back to me. The second reason is a story of my aunt. Also, several years ago, my aunt was diagnosed with leukemia. It is not very serious, and can be killed. So, after several years treat, she was killed, but the doctor still gave her many suggestions, and one of the important one is eat more apples. After knowing this news, I feel a little bit surprised, and I went to the internet and searched about this, and finally I found that eating more apples will be really helpful to this kind of horrible disease. After the reasons, I want to tell you some actions I have done to achieve my personal commitment. The first thing is that I still remember that when I was in high school, every night I came back from school, the first thing I will do is to eat an apple. And the second reason is when I just left home and live on my own, every time I went to the supermarket, I must buy a bag of apples. And the second action is I feel really happy that the dining hall in UCLA always provides the apples and after every dinner I will take an apple from the dining hall. In summary, I have told you about the two reasons and the three actions about my personal commitment to eat an apple a day. And I believe that there will be no doubt that in this room I'm personally committed to eat an apple a day. And last, I would say no one would like to see the doctor, so I will follow the same an apple a day to the doctor way.
Okay, good. 421, pretty close. Liked your story. Thought it was an interesting and humorous take on the personal commitment, almost a satire, as it were. A sig statement would have been good after the thesis preview. Your first story about having acne and your mother telling you that apples will help it go away was a good story, and you gave us kind of a mixed message at the end of it. Your second story about leukemia, that was even better, and you did some research and found out that apples can be helpful, so that was a good story. On your concrete actions, I think that you've convinced us all that you are committed to eating an apple a day, both from high school and buying a bag and going to the dining hall and having it here at UCLA. Yeah, we love apples here in America. Your summary, your conclusion, and tieback are all fine, so you did a nice job. Thank you. Hi. How we doing? Oh, we're really getting up there, huh? Yeah. It's good. Okay, rock and roll.
Hi everyone, my name is Brian.
Hi, Brian.
As Winston Churchill said, courage is what it takes to stand up and speak. Courage is also what it takes to sit down and listen. And today I want to share with you my personal commitment to be a good communicator. And I will give you 2 reasons and 3 actions I have taken to demonstrate my personal commitment. Everyone wants to be a brave man. In my opinion, courage is just a strong mind help you to overcome your weakness. In that way, I think being a good communicator is very important to me. The first reason is that it's just about courage. The story is about me and my childhood buddy. When I was in the last year in the secondary school, I have a quarrel with my best childhood buddy. Because it's in the last year of my secondary school, we are very busy and have no time to chat with each other. And after a few days later, we were supposed to have a chance to talk with each other and speak out our thoughts about the quarrel. But when we meet, because we are both shy and we retreat and cannot start a conversation. As time goes by, I realized that my friend he began his high school in another city, and there was hardly any chance for us to meet again because the social network is not so dramatic as today. And so I feel very sorry about that, because what if I was brave enough to start a conversation? The second reason that I want to be a good communicator is that communication helped me grow up. The story happens when I first came to Singapore. In the first couple weeks, I really have a good time traveling throughout the Singapore island with my new friends. But every day when I come back to my room, I was really exhausted. Usually at that time, my mother will chat with me online, and she will always ask me about something about my new life abroad. And sometimes I was really impatient, and my answer sometimes is just like pretty good and not so detailed. My mother was really angry and upset, and they wrecked my mind. How dare you do that? You are my only son. You are going abroad. Who are supposed to say about? Since I was graduated from primary school, I started to live on campus, and I always think that I was a good son because my mother and my father never worried about my study, never worried about my life. But since that day, I seem to grow up and change my mind. What my mother thinks more about is just myself, not what I should do is try to share my emotions and my daily stories with my parents. And that's the second reason. And based on then I will share with you the 3 actions I have taken to achieve my personal commitment. The first is that I try to communicate with my friends and my parents more frequently and share my emotions and stories. And second is that I joined the debate club in my university and try to how to deliver information more effectively and how to convince others. And lastly, just like standing there and in this class, I try to learn how to communicate effectively from the professor and from the others, from sharing stories with each other. And perform these 3 actions, I'm happy and excited because I really changed myself and try to be outgoing and share my stories. And in conclusion, I will tell you the personal commitment going to be a good communicator, and the 3 actions I have taken to demonstrate it.
There should be no doubt in this room.
There should be no doubt in this room that I really personally should be a good communicator. Just as once you're true to the side, no matter you stand up and speak out and you sit down and listening carefully, it is courage, and you need to be brave and challenge yourself. Thank you.
I like your speech. I like your story of your losing your buddy because you were too busy to communicate. That was a good story. I especially like the story of you blowing your mother off and being rude to her and not giving her very long answers and not being a very good listener. By the way, the Wall Street Journal article that I sent you by email has a chapter in there on listening, and that's a very important component of the communication process of being a good communicator, is being a good listener. On your actions, they were consistent with your PC. You were pacing a little bit too much, and your summary, conclusion, and tie back were all good, so you did a nice job.